What I was often wondering about and why I never went through it is Dad had a sister, my father, your grandfather, and her name was Dottie, and she married a Murray, a Dominic Murray.
Yeah, they're at Pinecrest, not 20
Yeah,
yards
that's
from
right.
their parents.
She is. He isn't. He's in Notre Dame Cemetery.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, he's buried in Notre Dame.
Annie Murray?
Dominic, and she's Anne Murray. Yeah,
Annie
Dottie.
Yeah.
Dottie.
There's a little brass plaque in the ground near.
Yeah.
Near Bill
Well, the
Smith.
family's all about in that area.
Yeah, they're all in the same section. H, I think it is.
Well, Dottie married this Dominic, and they never had a family.
No.
And they must have been very prosperous. They must have. Now, his work was, he owned and they operated Lakeside Gardens. You know, the pavilion?
Really?
The pavilion that was out there in the early 90s?
Richmond and Pinecrest.
Yeah. And it was, I guess, a beautiful place because I can remember my aunt showing it to me, pictures of it, because she was kind of picked me up and planted me in her home for the summer, if you sort of say. And Percy used to have to walk me from Catherine Street to her place because he was that much older than I was. And Percy would say, "Oh, and he'd push me off the sidewalk and all this. You're going to go and live in that big house and all this, you know." And I said, "I don't want to live in that big house. I want to stay at home with you." And I know I didn't. I wasn't happy there. I wanted to, but my aunt would be gladly adopted me, you know. But I cried to go home. I miss Percy's fighting, I think, as much as anything.
You and Dad were close then, were you? You and my dad were close?
Yeah, very close.
Yeah.
We were very close. I think all the pictures we used to have was him and I together.
Is that right?
And I couldn't live without him, and I guess he couldn't live without me, sort of thing. You know, we had a good bond.
That's great.
And but Aunt Dottie used to show me. She had this big house on Patterson Avenue. The back of it, you know, they had the property went from Patterson Avenue to Strathcona in the glebe.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Strathcona, yes.
In the glebe.
Yeah.
Bank Street, like this was Bank Street, and Patterson. There's a big park on either side of Bank Street. That park it's the same today as it was when I was 8 years old.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. And she would unroll all these rolls of hand-painted scenes, you know, where they used to have it in the theater, and drop them for background, you know, and trunks full of costumes, lovely costumes, you know, and everything. And my aunt never, all through the Depression, she had this big home and lovely furniture, beautiful furniture. It was antiques. It was really nice to be there, you know, and she kept it really nice. She never wanted for a nickel, and you know there wasn't in the pensions in those days at all.
Right.
And I can remember when Percy and I would go there. The delivery person would come, or the paper boy, and my aunt would go to a can in the gas stove. It wouldn't be connected, you know. You had to turn it on and turn it off if you wanted to use it.
Okay.
See, and she'd pull out this tin box. And it was never empty. And I can remember saying to Mom, "You should get a stove like Aunt Dottie. You know, and if they want anything to pay the baker or pay the paper boy, they just have to go there to the oven.
Take it out of the stove.
And take it out of the oven." And Percy said, "Yeah, that's right." She said, "There's all kinds of money in that can, too," because one day I looked at it.
Is that right?
And we were amazed. And as the older you got, the more you wondered, why didn't I know a little bit more history about that Lakeside Gardens and Aunt Dottie and Uncle Dominic. And I think that's when they chose me to go and stay there for this summer. I think it was either when the mother died, that's my dad's mother, or when it was Aunt Dottie's husband. But she was very sad and she cried a lot. You could tell why I was lonely going there in this great big house. And she was crying all the time.
She missed her mother. She missed her mother? Is that what you're saying?
Well, we don't know whether she missed, if the mother was dead or her husband. I haven't remembered. I guess it was the mother because maybe Yes, her husband would have died before that because Aunt Dottie used to show me all the stuff, you know. But I just wondered if there would be any history on that Lakeside Gardens.
Well, I'm sure there is
Because
somewhere.
to be connected with Dottie Lang,
Yeah,
you know. And
yeah. And you said her family owned that, or his family owned that?
they owned and
Yeah.
operated all that property around Lakeside Gardens,
Is that
yeah.
right, eh? Now that's right at Carling and Richmond and Pinecrest, is that what we're talking about?
No, it's at the end of Britannia now. There's a building now. I think they still call it Lakeside Gardens, this house, and seniors have programs in there. It's right
on the water, right? It's on the water?
It's on the water.
Yeah.
But when Aunt Dottie and Uncle Dom lived in there, they had a big wharf right down into the river, like you would see in Florida and that.
Oh, yeah.
And at the end of it, they used to have band concerts.
Oh,
It's
that's
probably
starting
in
to
the
ring a bell
archives.
now. I think I remember my mom talking
Oh
about
yeah,
this too.
Christy would know that
Yeah.
because when you were little, Dad used to drop us off at noon hour, Granny and I, and we'd stay there because it was nice and cool by the river. And when he was finished work, he would come pick us up. But it wasn't like it was when I'm telling you about with Aunt Dottie, you know.
Well,
It was.
well,
She the one that had the polar bear rugs in her house? And
Great big white bear in front of the fireplace, with the head on it and everything, and I used to be scared silly off it, you know. And this is what the house was like, you know, the bay windows,
just a,
big palm tree at the window, huge palm tree.
Wow.
And it was a gorgeous house.
Hmm.
She'd take her china out and show it to me and teach me how to use it. And Crystal told me how to know good crystal and china by taking a spoonful if it rings.
oh, is that right?
And oh yeah, she had, and they never wanted, so they must have had a bit of wealth from that Lakeside Gardens. And yet you see that's gone under the bridge, and Aunt Dottie and her life there with Dominic.
So I'm sorry, I lost track here. This is your father's sister then?
My father's sister, yeah.
Dorothy Ann?
Dorothy Ann.
Okay.
And then